try to make this as succinct as possible, but there are a few things that are all somewhat intertwined that I want to try to make clear. In my opinion, for Tiger to play as great as he once did, it's imperative that he imitates as much as he can from back when he was the greatest player in the world. Now, I'm not talking from a mechanical standpoint, I'm talking from a mental standpoint. I actually went to the Hero in 2014 just to kind of support Como and observe Tiger in person as much as I possibly could to solidify something that I had already been working on for Como in the background. I had been telling Como for a month or two that Tiger needed to be more target focused in his pre-shot routine, and on my flight home actually from the Hero I came across this passage in a book. I don't remember which one it was, but I really thought that it was going to clearly illustrate my point to Como perfectly. It reads, "They are slightly out of rhythm, they give one more look or freeze over the ball a split second longer. Well, that's different, and if they do that, they're uncomfortable. That's fine, I can make them more uncomfortable by playing better." But this is the one that I really thought would get him. The question was, in tighter matches, you seem to put yourself in a frame of mind that allows you to focus and slow everything down. And Tiger's response was, "All I do is stay in my same routine. Even though I have certain putts that are bigger than others, you never see me out of rhythm. I always stay the same pace, do everything the same. So what I did the first hole today and the last hole today is exactly the same. There's no change." I think that's probably one of the biggest keys. That's what Nicklaus was so good at. You could time him. Every routine he had was exactly the same. Well, remember when I said I undertook a project for Como? That's actually what I had done. I went and timed every single shot Tiger hit for an entire season. I wanted to prove to him that, in my opinion, Tiger was getting a little too bound up in swing thoughts as opposed to focusing on the target. Let me explain what I did. This timer would start when he took his first step towards the target there, and then I would stop the timer at impact. I actually had Sean Martin with PGA Tour Media send me as many DVDs as possible from an entire season of Tiger's. From this, I calculated the average length of his pre-shot routine from his first step towards the ball to impact, the standard deviation, how much did it vary, and then I looked at the standard deviation as a percentage of the total time. I also kept track of how many times he looked to the target, meaning he looked to the target once, twice, or 3 times. And back in those days, it was 2 times every single time. In my opinion here, Tiger has basically turned golf into some sort of a moving meditation. Now, I don't obviously know his background in meditation. My understanding is that he used to do it quite a bit. I have no idea if he does or doesn't still, but this to me is honestly a work of art. The golf swing is beautiful, but the absolute perfection of which he floats around a golf course is, in my opinion, what really made him who he was. Trust me, we could watch this on a loop all day. I did it for almost a month back in October of 2014. It doesn't vary much. But let's move forward to 2018 in the PGA Championship and look at some differences. For starters, let's take a look at the tee shot on 4th, the PGA Championship last week. We're going to look at the first metric, time from first step to impact. So here he's getting set, doing a little visualization, and we'll start the timer now. First thing I want you to watch is he only looks to the target once. He's basically completely set up and ready to hit this shot. Takes a look, and now we'll stop this timer at impact. Bam. 11.86 seconds. So this is the data just from the tee shots in the PGA Championship. And I actually do the exact same thing with timing the visualization portion of the tee shot. So he sets the club down in front of him every single time, kind of in the same rhythm. And I start the timer there, and then from when he starts his first step, I stop that timer. But I want to focus on this from the first step in. As you can see, his average time from first step to impact is 11.76 seconds. Standard deviation of 0.8, and standard deviation as a percentage of average is 6.8. To be perfectly honest, that's really good. It shows that he's thinking the exact same thing almost every single time. I would simply argue that what he is thinking with the driver isn't exactly the right thing for him at this moment. Now, when I bring in, for comparison's sake, the 2000 US Open, you'll see that his average time is, 10% higher, 13.4 seconds versus his current 11.7. Standard deviation is a little bit higher simply because it's taking a little bit longer time, but if you look at standard deviation as a percentage of average, it's basically exactly the same. He's really doing a good job of consistent thought processes, which I was not expecting. This difference in time can largely be explained away by the time that it takes to reshuffle a little bit more and take that second glance to the target. Now for contrast, let's look at some of his 2018 PGA Championship approach shots and recovery shots. And notice the difference in how much he visualizes and feels the shot that he's trying to hit, as opposed to sitting there frozen-ish over the ball thinking mechanics. Everything's pretty standard here. Nice little practice swing. He's going to spend a little bit more time visualizing the shot he's trying to hit, though. He's probably going right at this one. It's far enough away from the left edge that it's no big deal. Just an extra second or two of visualization. Then as he walks in, he still has his spot in front of the ball like Nicklaus that he's using to initially get set. But then he's going to check the target, give another kind of little reset, another look to the target, and go. In my opinion, this is a much more target and athletic focused pre-shot routine than he does with the tee shot. Here he is with his third shot to 4, and to me he just looks like he's feeling these shots more than with his tee shots. He looks like he's just kind of getting loose or just going through the motions. Now he's getting a nice visualization in. Obviously the exact hole is his target here. And to me, again, when you take this second look, you give an adjustment, you take that second look, you're allowing your body to be more athletic and react to the target as opposed to try to control everything to force it at the target. But where this really shines through is when he gets himself into a recovery situation. Here he is left of 8, he's got a 3-wood. And I'm doing the exact same timing metric here of his visualization process, which normally takes 4 or 5 seconds on a tee shot. Here he is for almost 16 seconds, and watch how he starts working his left hand here. That he's feeling it, he's feeling the club face, and he's really seeing what it is he's trying to do. Almost 17 seconds. Now, you obviously don't have to spend that much time on a tee shot, but here he goes, he gives it 2 looks, adjust, feel. He's not thinking of any sort of swing keys here. He's seeing what it is he needs to do, and then he's just doing it. And it's like this every time he gets himself in trouble. I've started that timer just a little bit late, but here you can see he's just feeling it. He's really visualizing what it is that he needs to do. And again, there wouldn't be this much need for visualizing on a tee shot. Obviously, there's not that much interesting. You're hitting a driver that's just a nice hammered fade. You don't have to over visualize that like you do these shots, but just a little bit more focus into the target, I think, is the absolute difference in letting his athleticism shine as opposed to trying to control it. Same goes for standard issue shots from the fairway. Here he is in 15, getting down to crunch time. He's going to give it a little bit more time here visualizing. This gets back to that first quote, though. I don't think that he needs to take 10 seconds here, but I don't think he needs to take 3 seconds on the other ones. Really getting invested in doing the same thing over. One shot's not more important than the other. I do the same thing on the first hole that I do on the last. 2 looks, visualized. He's feeling this shot more than he's thinking mechanics. Stuffs it. The flip side of that is here he is on 10, and you can see that he's going to come in. He's got himself a little visualization. Now I'm going to do the timing from the start, but you're going to see that he only takes 1 look to the target on this one. 1 look, no readjustment, and go. And in my opinion, this shot seems a little double crossing. I have no idea, obviously, but it's way short left. It's not the shot pattern he'd been hitting prior to this. I could literally make this video 4 days long if I wanted to. This point is just over and over and over again. But let's look at one last one and then I'll end it. Here he is on 5, and again, I don't think that he needs to take 31 seconds to visualize a shot, but when he gets himself in trouble, he is by far the best recovery player ever, and he's doing this out of pure athleticism. Lots of people would watch this and be like, oh, he just gets it done. No, this is an athlete doing what he does. If you look right here, if you follow this left hand, just like he did on 8 with that 3-wood, he is feeling and thinking, what do I need to do athletically to do this? Not, I need to drop it in and do this or that. This is all see it, visualize it, and do it. Now this shot comes up a little bit short, but it is dead at the flag. This was an absolutely fantastic shot with a 9-iron from, I think it was like 185. I mean, he almost had no chance of getting this there. But this shot is just reacting, period. Obviously, I understand that sometimes mechanical changes need to be made, but I think Tiger's beyond that at this point. I truly think that his golf swing works. He's just sometimes interfering with the natural athleticism that the human body can create. If you think about touching your nose with your right index finger, the amount of things that are going on through 3D and how many different muscles and joints are having to fire, it's pretty astounding that we can do that. But we're able to do it, largely in part because we're not thinking about how our elbow needs to bend, our shoulder needs to bend and react, and how our hand needs to articulate towards our nose. But if you look at every single approach shot that he hit last week, the vast majority of them entail two looks to the flag. There's a couple of them that he only looks once, but the vast majority have two looks to the flag, a little bit of a shuffle, a little bit of resetting, and then that to me it shows that he's more invested in his target and becoming more reactionary as opposed to with a driver. On 100% of them, he only looks to the target once, no reset, no reshuffle, which in my opinion shows that he is thinking about golf swing mechanics. There's no easier or simple way to say it. I could beat this idea to death with more and more images of swings, but at this point I think that you've got kind of what my opinion is, and in the hopes of staying succinct as I promised earlier, I'll leave it at that. But in case Tiger actually gets to see this, I will let him know that I am the idiot that actually walked up to him in 8 fairway at Shinnecock and introduced myself and told him I was one of Como's buddies. Talk to you soon.